But there is now an organization called the Professional Football Chiropractic Society, and Dr. Prusso is its current president. He was also the vice president before he became the president. In fact, he's been instrumental in the development of that organization. And for several years now, members of our sports council have been able to attend the annual Society two-day symposium held each February in conjunction with the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis that evaluates prospective players prior to the draft. It was nice to know that at the last time, in addition to all the other lectures that were being given by NFL team chiropractors, other doctors, sports medicine specialists, that our students were able to enjoy a unique opportunity to interact directly with the NFL team doctors, thanks to a very special session that was coordinated by Dr. Prusso. It was a great learning experience, I'm sure. In addition to his roles at Palmer and with the Oakland Raiders, Dr. Prusso also provides care for employees at Applied Materials in the A&P Wellness Center, which is one of the many emerging corporate-based health centers in Silicon Valley that I mentioned a few minutes ago. So he has lots of things to talk about, things that really convey what the future of the profession is going to be. As an avid cyclist, by the way, last year Dr. Prusso celebrated his 40th birthday by cycling the 175 miles from his home in Livermore to Yosemite National Park. I could hardly drive that distance. And on Sunday, this coming Sunday, Dr. Prusso will be helping the Raider players prepare for another game, this time, with their rivals across the bay here. But today we're honored to have him as our commencement speaker. So would you please give a very warm welcome to Dr. Kyle Prusso.
That was embarrassing. Dr. Meeker alluded to earlier the energy that was backstage, and I've been to just about every NFL stadium there is in the country, including Wembley Stadium in London, and I've run out of a tunnel to the energy of Monday Night Football, and there was nothing that could compare to the high fives and the energy that was back there. But I can't begin to express to you all tonight the gratitude and the honor that I feel having been selected here to speak. And I can promise you two things. One, that I will go over time, and two, that I will probably cry. Now, although I respect and admire all of the students that I've worked with at Palmer over the last few years, I feel a special connection to this class. Let me give you a little bit of background. Shortly after I started working here, I was asked to fill in to a class where an instructor took a leave of absence. Now, to this day, 2.5 years later, it remains the only classroom experience I've been allowed to have, so that should tell you something about my performance. But I was given the task of replacing a beloved instructor, really, and this was the class that I was assigned to. At the time, they were barely a year into their educational marathon here at Palmer West. And it's a critical point in the curriculum because the newness and excitement of being here at Palmer has already worn off. But the excitement of being in the clinic and actually treating patients still seems so far away that motivation's at an all-time low, especially for a 7:30 a.m. lumbo-pelvic lab with a green substitute teacher. We had a good time, we persevered, we did okay. Also, last October, I received the following email from one of the graduates sitting here behind me. And this email was written in size 16 font with bold, all caps for emphasis. It says, "You had better tell the Oakland Raiders today that you are busy on December 5th, 2014. If you miss our graduation for a football game, I will be livid. Sincerely, your favorite intern." Well, I'm here, and I'm happy to report that the NFL did take your graduation into consideration. But in exchange, they didn't schedule us any winnable games. So I blame you for that, my favorite intern. Thanks to this class, I've learned about the Persian rim drum. I have a personal artist, a running coach, and a freezer full of Alaskan moose meat. On this past September 27th, 3 of these graduates were married. Not up to each other, but 2 of them. September 27th happens to be my wedding anniversary, so we get to share that day for the rest of our lives as well. There's an all-star mom who raised 2 kids going through the program and decided just for kicks to have a third right before she graduated. There's a French-speaking Japanese Swiss guy. I mean, seriously, Josuke, who are you?
He's the man!
Tuan gave me a wicked case of mustache envy. I still refuse to jump out of a perfectly good airplane, but I'll never get tired of hearing in her best television news anchor voice. For the Professional Football Chiropractic Society, I'm Mecca Fayed. I love the stories of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. And I think every young boy who's ever read those books can imagine themselves floating down the Mississippi River in a raft or searching for buried treasure in a cave. But as I've grown older and become a little more seasoned, I've found subtleties in those stories that have really endeared me not only to the author, but those 2 lovable characters. You may recall that Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn became very wealthy when they discovered the treasure in Injun Joe's cave. And towards the end of their adventures, Tom went back to live with his Aunt Polly, and Huckleberry Finn was taken in by the widow Douglas to be civilized. After a few weeks of being integrated, Huckleberry Finn went missing. Tom went looking and found him back living in the woods up to his old ways. Huckleberry was having second thoughts about being integrated into civilized society, specifically the tight, restrictive clothing that the widow made him wear, and the long church meetings, and how everything was done, as he said, on a bell, which meant everything was scheduled. Tom was a little bit confused by Huckleberry's resistance and said, "Well, everybody does it that way, Huck." "Tom, it don't make no difference," Huck replied. "I ain't everybody." And this is my message to you, the 131st graduating class of Palmer College of Chiropractic West. You are not everybody. Your vision of what you do with this education is not and should not be everybody's vision. I want you to reflect on your early days here at Palmer West. And I want you to ponder how you felt as you imagined your life years down the road as a doctor of chiropractic. What did you see? What was life like? How are you using your education to serve others? How is that vision today? How has it changed? As you relive this in your mind, I offer the following metaphor. As Dr. Meeker mentioned, I love cycling. And I've been riding my bike through these hills in the Bay Area since I was 12 years old. And there's a principle in cycling that to ensure your safety, you need to look where you want to go. Now this sounds remedial, but great tragedies have occurred when this simple element has been forgotten, only for a brief moment. You see, we all know you have to look where you're going, but what happens is this. If an obstacle comes into our view and we fixate on it, and we focus on the obstacle, it becomes impossible to avoid, and accidents happen. But if you can notice an obstacle and use your vision to safely navigate around it, you can enjoy your ride. Because in life, you see, like on a bicycle, you will go where your vision takes you. Recently, my family and I were riding our bikes down a bike path, and we came to a cross street, and there was a pole right in the middle of the path, so that cars can't come down the bike path. And I noticed my wife was stopped right there at the pole. I said, "What are you doing? Why are you stopped?" And she said, "I was afraid I was going to hit the pole. I guess I just lost the vision." Never lose your vision. There's an old poem I love about a cow called The Calf Paths. It's very long, so I won't read it all, but it begins as follows. "One day through the primeval wood, a calf walked home as good calves should, but made a trail all bent askew, a crooked path, as all calves do. Since then, 300 years have fled, and I infer the calf is dead. But still he left behind his trail, and hereby hangs my moral tale." The poem continues to describe how many picked up on the calf's trail and it became a well-traveled road. The problem was this: the calf had a limp. So many a man wound in and out, and dodged and bent and turned about, and uttered words of righteous wrath, because it was such a crooked path. But still they followed, do not laugh, the first migrations of that calf, and through the winding woodway stalked, because he wobbled when he walked. For men are prone to go it blind, along the calf paths of the mind, and work away from sun to sun, to do what other men have done. They follow in the beaten track, go out and in and forth and back, to keep and still their devious course pursue, to keep the path that others do. They keep the path a sacred groove, along which all their lives they move. Will you follow a calf path? Will you allow yourself to become a slave to the status quo and do as others have done? Or will you be courageous enough to do it better, see it differently, and create something new? Your vision may be to graduate and be an associate doctor for a year and then open your own private family practice. You may dream about opening a cash-only practice in a small beach town and treat only the locals and surfers. Or you may envision an exciting, fast-paced, multidisciplinary setting similar to the VA internships. Or here's a thought, none of the above. Whatever you dream to do, I encourage you to do it. There will always be those who will say it can't be done, or it's too risky. Some will say you're unqualified or that it hasn't been done before. But I promise you that if you want something bad enough and you are committed to your vision, there are no limits to what you can achieve. Commitment is crucial. Commitment is more than a promise or a pledge. It requires passion. True commitment means that when your whole soul and all of your actions are congruent with your vision, that everything you do is done with the purpose of achieving your ultimate goal. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That is, the moment one commits himself, then providence moves too, and all sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. When one commits, a stream of events flows from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it now. Boldness has a genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now, and to the naysayers proclaim, I ain't everybody. Once your vision is clear and you have committed to carry it out with purpose and passion, I request two things from you. One, get involved and give back to the profession. And two, live your life, including mother, father, husband, wife, etc. Each of these roles requires your time and energy, and they are all worthwhile and honorable. But we could not be here today in this auditorium were it not for those who came before us. Where would we be without Dee Dee and B.J. Palmer, without Clarence Gonstead or Arlen Furr, or without Tom Souza and McConnie Liu? I submit that sitting behind me are the future leaders of our profession, the future leaders of healthcare reform, sports medicine, corporate healthcare, chiropractic education, and presidents of local, state, and national organizations. You possess the talents that can help advance the profession and prepare the next generation, and I beg you not to hide those talents, but to share them freely. The time has come to shed the apathy that plagues our profession. The game has changed, healthcare is evolving. We need your ideas, your imagination, and enthusiasm. Get involved, give back, and elevate chiropractic. Integrity is defined as the quality of being honest and having a strong moral principles and uprightness. Integrity is a personal choice, an uncompromising and consistent commitment to honor moral and ethical values and principles. In the study of ethics, integrity is regarded as honesty and truthfulness, or accuracy of one's actions. Integrity opposes hypocrisy. It is said that an individual possesses the virtue of integrity if the individual's actions are based upon an internally consistent framework of morals and principles. We have within ourselves a framework of principles derived from our own unique human experiences. Be true to yourself, be true to your principles and your standards. Never compromise your integrity for money, pride, vain ambition, or for the praise and glory of others, the benefits of which are temporary and ultimately unfulfilling. Instead, be consistent, be honest, be humble, and be true. And remember that you not only represent yourself, but your family, your community, and chiropractic. Be more concerned with your character than you are your reputation, For your character is who you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Chiropractic has within it three basic tenets, namely science, philosophy, and art. My desire to come work at Palmer West was predicated heavily on the college's commitment to scientific, evidence-based chiropractic care. But I come from Life West, and philosophy is strong within us. Chiropractic philosophy is basically this, that there is a universal intelligence in all matter, and that a living thing has within it an inborn intelligence called innate intelligence. Now, I believe that when the inborn innate spirit of a man or woman connects with this higher power, or this universal intelligence, and feel free to insert your own personal spiritual bias here, but when we connect with this higher power, our ability to love is magnified and mankind is blessed. And isn't this world in need of a bit more love and a lot less hate? For thousands of years, there's been plenty of hate. Christian, Jews, blacks, whites, cowboys, Indians, Mac, PC, Raiders, 49ers, or Bengals Browns for those of you who travel here from Ohio. I declare there is no political officers or executive orders that can bring about the needed increase of love and compassion. There are no laws or government social programs that can do it. It's up to us. It's up to each one of us to commit to ourselves to bring about a change first with the man in the mirror. As we leave here today, I ask that each one of us pledge to love more and criticize less. Serve more abundantly, expecting nothing in return. Listen without prejudice and respond with kindness, and uplift others without envy. My prayer is that each one of you graduates will scatter sunshine all along your way as you suck the nectar out of life, and when those around you can't comprehend your vision, your passion, or your commitment, and attempt to have you conform or walk an old crooked trail, you can simply tell them, it's no use, I ain't everybody. Thank you.